All right, cruisers, buckle up because I've got big news to share with all of you. After years of rumors, Royal Caribbean has officially confirmed the Discovery-class cruise ships are happening. A brand new class of ships built for discovery, flexibility, and taking us to places that other ships can't, we think. Today, we're breaking down everything we know, and there's not a lot of it, from delivery dates to what these ships might look like. Up next. All right, Royal Caribbean has finally confirmed what we already knew for a long time, that the Discovery-class ships are actually happening. I mean, up until today, they were just rumors, speculation, little things that were mentioned here and there by ship captains and even the CEO, Michael Bailey. But this is what we know for sure, is that they are actually building these ships. An order has been placed, and so now these new class of cruise ships are called the Discovery class. This isn't just rumor anymore, it's official. The first ship will debut in 2029, the second in 2032. Both of them will be built at the Chantiers de l'Atlantique shipyard in France, and Royal Caribbean has options for up to 4 more ships. What that means is, right now there are 2 orders placed, but they could build an additional 4 other ships. And if they decide later on they want to build those 4 ships, well, the slots at the shipyard are available for them. Basically, there are 2 ships confirmed, with slots held for up to 6 total, depending on how things go. Now, Chantiers de l'Atlantique has a long history of building cruise ships for Royal Caribbean, including the massive Oasis-class ships. Now, unfortunately, that's all they confirmed. They did not give us ship size, dimensions, where it'll be based out of, where it'll sail to. They just kind of talked about the fact that this is actually happening. And Royal Caribbean, I'm sure, is chuckling to themselves because we've been waiting with bated breath for a long time, but here we are. In a statement to the press, Royal Caribbean International President and CEO Michael Bailey described the Discovery-class ships as a bold new concept. And then in another statement, Royal Caribbean Group Chairman and CEO Jason Liberty said, with Discovery-class, we're building a new platform with Chantiers de l'Atlantique that will advance next-generation innovation sustainability, this is the important part, while taking our guests to extraordinary destinations around the world, end quote. Now, this is a really important quote because this seems to confirm what Royal Caribbean has said behind the scenes for a long time. The Discovery-class ships are meant for exotic destinations, and they'll be along those lines. If you recall, back in September of last year, Mr. Bailey talked about the Discovery-class a little bit during the President's Cruise, and he said, quote, "We want the ships to be able to really focus on the more exotic itineraries," end quote. This plays into what Royal Caribbean has said for a long time, or at least alluded to for a long time, that they're going to be smaller. And I'm using air quotes here. I really don't think these will be like Vision-class ships of that size, but maybe somewhere in the 4,000 passenger level. But nonetheless, they'll be smaller than the Icon or Oasis-class ships. With the smaller size, perhaps, that means these ships could go to other exotic destinations like Europe, Alaska, even Asia, places where bigger ships can be limited by port size or canal restrictions. This is places like the Mediterranean, Northern Europe, Alaska, Panama Canal voyages, and exotic Caribbean ports. Now, Royal Caribbean did say also, for what it's worth, that it would be small enough to fit through the Panama Canal. During the President's Cruise, Michael Bailey said, quote, "It'll go through the Panama Canal, and we think it'll be a real positive that it'll be able to go to Alaska in the summer and then get it back into the Caribbean." So if you're doing the math in your head, right now, the biggest ship that can sail through the Panama Canal is Norwegian Bliss. And if we're assuming that's the max size, well, theoretically, based on this assumption, the Discovery-class ships could be no larger than 168,000 gross registered tons and 1,094 feet long. But again, this is a bit of a jump in, assuming and whatnot. But the other really interesting thing to come out of today's news isn't so much the Discovery-class, but what else we know about. Now, I talked about this on our podcast, which you can subscribe to here on YouTube as well, about the fact that since we now know the Discovery-class ships will be built in France, this means Royal Caribbean has got something else up its sleeve over in Finland. That's right, there's actually likely a second new class of cruise ships out there. Back in September of 2025, Royal Caribbean confirmed the order for its 5th Icon-class cruise ship at the Meyer Turku shipyard in Finland. But that announcement mentioned they're building a new class of cruise ship. We assumed it was the Discovery-class, but now, not so much. In that statement, Royal Caribbean said that they were working on a new, game-changing class of ship beyond Icon. Okay, again, we thought it was Discovery-class, but now, with the fact that Discovery is being built in France, this means there's something else being built in Finland. And no, they're not going to build Discovery-class ships in both France and Finland. They always do it in one shipyard at a time. Now, nothing else has been said since then. However, when they're using the words game-changing class of ship beyond Icon, if I was going to guess, if I was going to bet money, it would seem to me like that means like newer, bigger, more bold than even the Icon class. And the way the Icon class was a step beyond the Oasis class. Like, Royal Caribbean has got 2 different projects now running concurrently. And while you're doing that math, yeah, it's going to be a busy couple of years here with Royal Caribbean cruise ships. We've got Legend of the Seas coming out this summer, Icon 4 in 2027, Icon 5 in 2028, Oasis 7 in 2028, and now Discovery 1 in 2029, and Discovery 2 in 2032. But don't forget, there are options for 2 more Icon class ships and 4 more Discovery class ships even beyond that. So there's a lot of unanswered questions still left, like what exactly will the onboard features look like? How big will the Discovery class ships be? What sort of focus will they have on board? Will it still be family focused? Will it not be? Will they have new tech or sustainability upgrades? We'll likely learn more in the next few years as Royal Caribbean releases details, renders, and eventually booking information. But I'm gonna be real with all of you. If the first ship is not out until 2029, it's gonna be a while before we get more details. Let me put this in perspective. We're here in 2026, and we're still waiting on Icon 4 details, which come out next year. So there's clearly a lot of runway ahead of us to know more information. But if you're like me and a lot of other people that love Royal Caribbean, we've been waiting a long time for this because rumors of Project Discovery have been swirling for years. There was one other big announcement Royal Caribbean made today as it relates to new ships, and that is Royal Caribbean Group confirmed that Celebrity Cruises has announced a commitment for 10 new ships that'll bring its river cruise fleet up to 20 ships by the year 2031. Now, as you know, Celebrity Cruises is launching a new river cruise endeavor that'll begin very, very soon in 2027. And this is going to be a new option for them to offer river cruises and take guests to all these kind of iconic places in at least Europe. And certainly if they have a ship fleet of 20 vessels, let's face it, it's going to be beyond Europe, but they haven't confirmed that yet. All of that is on top of the other land projects they're working on, like Royal Beach Club Santorini, Royal Beach Club Cozumel, which both open in 2026, Perfect Day Mexico, which opens in 2027, and their beach operation in Lepa, which opens sometime by 2028. Today's announcement for the Discovery class isn't exactly what we wanted. I would have loved to have seen not only the confirmation that they're building these ships, but just like a general size and dimensions, things like that, so we have an idea. I mean, I think it would be great if they also announced names of where it's going to be based out of and when I can book it, but obviously that would be almost impossible at this stage of the game. But I'm kind of surprised we don't have at least ship size. The dimensions of the ship are probably the biggest component to this project that will truly differentiate it. Ultimately, we've got good news, but we're going to have to wait for even more. Let me know in the comments below, what are your bold predictions? We're going to come back to these comments in like 2-3 years, whenever the heck Royal Caribbean reveals all the stuff, and we'll see who was right and who was definitely wrong.